You're watching News Channel 11 at 5:30.
Many in our region believe the Tri-Cities to be at a crossroads and that local government needs to join force to stop the drop in population and prosperity.
Serious issue, and so for the next 30 minutes we're going to be taking a look at what we're calling the road to regionalism and how this effort to rebrand and also come together, several issues all at once, is now progressing. We are joined now in our studio by Sullivan County Mayor Richard Venable and Washington County, Tennessee Mayor Joe Grandy. Thank you both for being here tonight. We appreciate it.
Happy to be here.
Thanks for having us.
Well, let's start with the most obvious question here, and either one of you can answer it. Why should we care? Why should the people at home care about regionalism, and how is it going to impact their daily life?
Jump in.
Jump in whenever you...
I'll jump in. If we're going to be the best we can be, we need to care about regionalism. We've, as you know, Joe and I together started a little movement back with our joint county commission meetings, and we're examining the areas that affect our growth, the 5 areas that we identified, and so if we're going to be the best we can be, we need to look at those and see how we can work together. We don't need to put any square pegs in round holes and force things, but we need that examination. We need to do a self-examination also, and we've done some of that in the last few weeks, as a matter of fact.
Mayor Grandy, we want to talk to you about that very thing in a moment. Mayor Grandy, you were the mayor from Sullivan County mentioned a year ago you met together, 2 county commissions for the first time, I think ever in this context, certainly. Have we seen anything substantive come out of what was a commitment to work together?
Yes,
but something real come out of that?
Absolutely. You know, on the heels of that meeting, we formed, Richard and I formed the Blue Ribbon Task Force, which subsequently formed 5 action groups to look at specific areas where we felt like there may be an opportunity to participate on a regional basis and enhance the efforts in each one of those areas. And really over the last 6 or 7 months, over 80 people, community leaders, have come together in those 5 groups and put in hundreds of hours of work to come up with some really good stuff that we're going to be happy to release soon.
Let's talk about the rebranding, Appalachian Highlands. That's something that our viewers at home have seen some of, and a lot of people have some differing opinions about that. Government's paid about $50,000 and ended up with that name. ETSU is using it. Ballot has been using it. Not everybody is using this name, though. Do you think it's time to embrace this new brand? Mayor Venable, do you want to start?
I'll go first.
Okay.
It's been an interesting process. And of course, what's important is how people see us, not how we see ourselves, and not what our opinions are. I think it's a great idea that individuals want to use that brand, because we need to recruit people here, and they need something descriptive to have good people come here. So I don't have a problem with it. I'm not on one side or the other. I think it would be a well of a program to get everyone to conform to one look. Some of us have short hair, some of us have long hair, some of us don't have any hair. but the fact is, we made good progress on that, and I'm proud of the people who are using it, but everybody's not going to accept it. That's just the way things are.
Mayor Grandy?
And I think that we, you know, we put the halt, the mayors in the community put the halt on just launching out in a brand, you know, because somebody thought it was a good idea, and put some research around it. And you know, the name was validated to a reasonable extent. So I think the bigger picture is that whatever the name is, that we just market ourselves. I think one of the things that we do not do well is tell our story and tell our story to the rest of the world. We know how wonderful this place is because we live here, but we'd like other people to know it as well.
We're talking a lot about collaboration, being nice to each other, playing friendly, not trying to steal jobs from one county to the other. But there are some who are saying it is time to move beyond the collaboration into something that's real and even consolidated. Now we're walking into something controversial, I know. But do you see any movement, and I'd love to hear from both of you on this, towards something that is truly real and consolidated?
That's what Mayor Grandy and I are trying to establish. And we think that our final reports will reflect some of that. We won't solve all the problems. We won't even have an opinion on some of the problems. But there's some things that are just no-brainers that we can do together. We want to hear those final reports, though. I'll give you one thing, and I don't know how this would come together, but workforce development. Lottie Rhines at First Tennessee Development District has been working on that for the last year and a half, and we're within just a few weeks of an announcement. But Sullivan County and Hawkins County are already work-ready communities. A trained worker in Johnson County is beneficial to Sullivan County, Washington County, and Greene County. So we can agree on that. What we're looking at is how do we take advantage of all those resources we've got and have one voice up here on workforce development. When somebody from Nashville calls, it'd be great to call maybe that one person and say, tell us what you've done and give us a review of your workforce.
How about you, Mayor Grandy? Anything real coming out of this that you're seeing that's truly like consolidated?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we need, as Mayor Venable said, we need to have one voice. We need to have one voice for our community in Nashville when they call. You know, they can get all the services they need. We need to consolidate services that we put together for efficiency. You know, there's no reason why every community will do the same thing. We're getting ready to put a proposal out, you know, for a group of people that are looking to move into our area. And we have 3 sites, and there's no reason to do it 3 times in 3 separate communities. And that's the type of efficiency that we can achieve by consolidation.
Mayor Venable, Mayor Grandy, thank you so much for joining us. We're not done with you yet. We're going to talk to you a little bit more. Our discussion on regionalism is continuing. We'll be continuing that in just a moment.
That's right. We're going to dig into this Blue Ribbon Task Force you mentioned. We want some specifics. Coming right back in a moment.